Also going to give you another one this year. What's going on here? Measurement. Just so we're all on the proverbial same page. Keep one of these bad boys with you at all times here. Put them in your ruler, folder, notebook, something. So we're all kind of doing the same thing with one thing. Spared no expense to get you all rulers. Put that last year.
Yep.
Oh, no, thank you. No, I need it. No, thank you. I'm hoping you're pretty much at least somewhat well schooled at the art of ruler making there. Two different systems we use again is the metric system and the US customary system. Anybody want to tell me my thoughts on both of those systems? Elijah?
Sure.
Metric easy, US hard. No other country in the world uses our, not even the motherland where it came from, England. Those people wised up 100 years ago and decided not to do it. What makes our system so much harder than what the rest of the world uses? Isabel?
Ours is not based on tens and
That sums it up. We have to use fractions for ours, for the most part. They just use, it's based on tens. And if you're ever given, you know, would you rather multiply by, or would you rather add 5/8 and 3/8 and 2/8 and 5/16 and 9/32 together, or would you rather add 10 plus 10? I don't know, it's kind of your choice on that, but that's kind of the gist of the whole thing here. Our US system, what do we measure in? Well, our base unit, I guess, would be inches, which might have been good at one time. Now that's about the distance between your first and second knuckle there. But what happens when you want to go smaller than an inch? Then you got to start going into fractions. So here's my blown up 1 inch. Okay. We cut an inch in half, and then we've got the ½ inch mark. But that sometimes isn't small enough, so we cut halves in half, which gives us the 1/4 inch marks, right? So here's the beauty of it. This is 0 quarters. This is 1/4. This is 2/4. This is 3/4, and that's 4/4. But when 1/4 inches aren't small enough, guess what we have to do? You cut each one of those in half, and what do those make up? The 1/8 inch marks. 0/8, 1/8, 2/8. You see already why this just isn't the best system. 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. And then guess what? The 8s weren't small enough because we were living in a really small world now when you measure things really small. Then you split each one of those into 16ths. Cut each one of the 8ths in halves, and now they're 16ths. So now what do I have? 0/16, 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, 6/16, 7/16, 8/16, 9/16, 10/16, 12. And the problem is, you can only use the easiest to understand fraction. So never would you say, here's an example, back when I was young, I used to help my dad work on cars, and cars have nuts and bolts on them, and nuts and bolts are measured. Back then they used to be in, not metric, which they are now, they used to be in fractions, in inches. So he would tell me, would you please go get me a 7/8 inch wrench? Maybe this has happened to you, Keith, have you ever had to go get a 7/8 inch wrench? Well, it turns out that 7/8 inch wrench is just a little bit too big. So he says, okay, get the next size smaller. What is the next size smaller than 7/8? Well, you would like to think it's 6/8 or 3/4, but it's not. Anybody know what the next size smaller, in 16ths, it would have to be the next size smaller than 7/8. Okay,
Maybe a 13/16.
maybe, and it is a 13/16, because 7/8 is the same, 7/8 is the same as 14/16. So the next 16th smaller is actually 13/16. But you know, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I couldn't think of that. Nowadays, here, watch how hard this is. Your dad tells you to go out and get a 20mm wrench, and you come back and it's just a little bit too big. Guess what the next size smaller is? 19mm wrench. How hard is that to figure out? But no. And you actually, if you go to cars, now all cars are in the metric system, so that's not that sort of thing. But we haven't changed our miles. We still measure your feet, or your height in what? Feet and inches. If you were in England or any other country, what would you measure your height in? No, not meters. It'd be centimeters. How many centimeters you weigh, or how tall you are? 200. So, look at your little inch ruler there, kids. See if you remember anything from last year. Each one of those, looking at the inch side, which is going to be the bottom, each little mark is a 1/16 of an inch, right? Are you with me? Well, let me see if I can pull it up here. Would you rather I just give you homework or talk about this?
Talk about this.
I think so. You gotta pretend to listen.
Okay.
Pretend, by the way. Math. Anybody know what math is?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Which group do you think I would have put this under? It should be under rulers, but I don't think I did.
Measurement?
Let's go course 1 and see if it's under course 1 rulers. Wait, that's not the bottom. It'd be under the letter R. Do you see rulers? No.
Maybe anything.
Let's go here and see if there's rulers. No. Let's go here and see if there's rulers. Might be under 5th grade. Do you see rulers? I know, but I would probably give us one. Didn't I give them to you as 5th graders?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Let's go to instructional masters? No. Let's go to just math under rulers.
Maybe.
Wait, maybe it's here at the bottom of math. Anybody see rulers?
I can't even see.
Measuring worksheets?
No, not okay.
Rulers! Okay,
Yeah.
let's blow this up. Let's keep it just this size here. No, let's blow it up a little bit. No. Let's blow it up just a little. Here's the deal. Wait for the big smack. So here's the deal. Here's what makes this difficult here. So let's say you're measuring a line and it goes right to right here. Right at this mark right here. Okay, so I know it is 1, 2, 3 whole inches, correct? So I put my 3 down. And then each line after it is a 16th. So I count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 16ths. Am I right or am I wrong? Unfortunately, I am wrong because in our US system, we don't ever say 10 16ths because there's another fraction that means the same as 10 16ths that uses smaller digits. 10 16ths is the same as what, Isabel? It is not the same as 3/4. See, that's why this whole thing is goofy and hard. Cut them both in half, what do you get? Okay, yeah, that is actually 3 5/8. Everybody loves working with fractions. How about this? This line here goes all the way to right here. So it's 1 whole inch. Now I could count over all of these 16ths, or I could come back count back from 16/16, 15/16. This is 14/16 right there. It's 1 and 14/16. But can I leave it as 14/16? No, because it's 14/16 is, Maddie? 7/8, and that would be what I'd have to use. Now, if you're kind of observant in here, most rulers, you see the little lines are different lengths, like this, the whole inch marks are the longest marks. The half inch marks are the second longest, and then here are the quarter inch marks. So rather than, if you had a line that went right to here, you really don't have to count the 16ths because you know that's the first quarter inch mark. It's 4/16 over, but it's, and the next ones are the 1/8 inch marks. Is anybody? Let's try something here. Look at your books on page 39. Well, maybe you don't have to measure it. Maybe they put rulers in there for you. Page 39. There it is. Look at practice letter C. Measure the segment twice, once with an inch ruler and once with a centimeter ruler. Tell me what you get from both of those measurements. Measure it with both your inch ruler and with your centimeter side. You just have to flip your ruler upside down. Give me 2 answers for that. Inches and centimeters. Shoot, don't make me come down hard. Let's see what we get. And I think you guys are at least decent at measuring, so I don't think this will be too much trouble. But Brooklyn Peterson wants to share her answers.
Do I?
Oh, sure. I can read mine. What'd you get in inches?
Well, in inches, I got 5 and 1/16.
Of an inch?
And
5.
centimeters.
5 inches is pretty long.
That's pretty long.
Luke Franklin in inches?
1 3/4.
Agreement or disagreement? Luke, I don't see a lot of moral support there. Brianna? Yeah, my book says 2 inches. Now you can make a case maybe for 1/16 or 1 and 15/16. It couldn't be 2 1/4 is way too far off. You'd have to be somewhere. Here's 2 inches, Ruth. If you were 1/16, here, give you a little mathematical symbol. If you were plus or minus 1/16, if you ever see that plus or minus, that means I would accept 1/16 less than the answer given or 1/16 more than the answer given. 1/16 less would be 1 17 or 15/16. 1/16 more would be 2 1/16. Those would be the 2 acceptable answers or 3 answers. If you got 2 1/4, then you did you put your end of the ruler? You're not measuring at this end, you're measuring where the little black line starts. That would be the thing there. And then Brooklyn Peterson says, I really want another shot at centimeters and centimeters. What did you get for centimeters?
5/16. Oh wait, 5 and 1/16.
Now, there's where you have to be careful. Remember, centimeters are not cut into 16ths, they're cut into tenths. So if it went here, it's 5 and 1/10. 5 and 1/10. And by the way, everybody look at me because some of you will get stuff wrong. Look at me, I want to see everybody's eyes. Never in the metric system will you ever, did I say ever? Ever use a fraction. Okay. Never will you write this as 5 and 1/10. Metric system does not do that. It's decimal always. Okay. And that's the beauty of the metric system. If you have a line that goes to right here, it's kind of hard for me to do. It is 14 whole centimeters, and then you just put a decimal point and count however many little lines more it is. 14.2. That's pretty simple, isn't it? That's startling, yeah.
Is that a repetition with the metric system?
Yes, we're revolving into something. what would this be right there? What is that in the metric system? Well, you know it's 8. 8 point, Laney Card.
0.5.
I go 8.5. Maybe you can't see that. Maybe we need to blow that up.
Yes, we do. Blow it up, please.
So if your line, which this will be an abnormally large line, if your line comes out and stops right here, what would that be in the metric system? Well, the whole number would be 13 decimal point what, Grace?
13.3.
13.3. Now, let's see. It's 13.3 centimeters. Guess how many millimeters that is? There's no guessing involved. All you have to do to change centimeters to millimeters is take away the decimal point, which would be, Laney,
133.
133 millimeters. Now, if I asked you to change 27 inches into feet, what would that be? Oh, look at Elijah thinks he knows. Sure.
2 feet 3 inches.
What's that?
2 feet 3 inches.
2 feet 3 inches. What if I said change 17 feet into inches? Wow, we do have some answers out there. 17 feet into inches. Kate?
2 feet and 3 inches.
No, I already started out with 17 feet. It certainly can't go down to 17 feet.
Okay.
That's about the distance from here to that wall.
Okay.
Yes, Kate. How many inches?
17 feet.
Somebody broke my rubber band. If I get a right answer, maybe, just maybe, we won't have homework. Want to give me the 17 feet in inches then? 17 feet into inches. Did you come up with a very large number? Anybody do that mentally?
No, can
Kara says
96 inches.
10 feet would be 120 inches. So 17's got to be more than that. Isabel?
204 inches.
I believe that's what it is.
Yes!
So the question, though, at the end of all that was, is our system of measuring easy? No.
No.
Because if I asked you to change 10 centimeters into millimeters, or 10.0 centimeters into millimeters, you would tell me it's what? 100. So the next time President Obama wants to come up with something to sign a bill for, you tell